from my previous content that I had made from last year and even 6 months ago before the merger, while all of that stood true at that test in time, none of that even applies anymore. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dirt Road Salvation. By the time you have seen this, I will no longer be affiliated with USA Truck. I will have moved my truck to another carrier, which we will reveal later on. But at this point in time, I want to ask the question to somebody who has had their contract terminated by USA Truck with next to no notice, no reason whatsoever, and will not give a reason as to why, and to the section of our contract at USA that allows them to do this. As we all know that DB Schenker has bought out USA Truck, and they are in the process of merging, and it will be finalized in September. And from the optics and what I'm seeing and the way that things have changed, it looks like they feather bedded the crap out of the company just so that way when DB Schenker rolls in here, they can just start cutting jobs. And I think it's starting now. But let's roll the intro. We'll get her up and going, and then we'll bring in our guest, and we'll do a little interview here. So let's do it. All right. Well, we're here. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you again. Welcome
Hello.
back to the channel. Hopefully, at least at some point, everybody will just stop making fun of me for my little bit of typing with my accent that I put in there. Maybe someone who catches that quickly enough, other than Hunter, we might send him a prize. But anyway, so USA terminated your contract. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And so has there been any correspondence between you and them when they did this, or was there like any notice that this was going to happen? Did you have a feeling, or did this like just completely blindside you? Like, what happened? Walk me through the whole scenario.
Well, this was pretty much like completely blindsided. So, I came home last week. Yeah, I just came home to do like a quick reset, and then I was going back up to the Tip City, Ohio terminal. Those of y'all who don't know, I was leasing my truck through ProLease, and there is a stipulation with ProLease and USA that when you lease your truck through ProLease, USA has to honor a 30-day warranty to fix anything wrong with the truck that happens to appear. So my 30-day warranty was going to be up. What is today? Today, the 6th, 7th?
Today's the 7th.
Today's the 7th. So technically, my 30-day warranty would have been up yesterday. But I got up there on Thursday, so that was the 4th, and I was going to have them look at my coolant because I was drinking about a gallon of coolant a day. So I ended up getting there after the shop had closed. So I pulled into the terminal and I parked the truck, and I decided that I was going to get up in the morning, go in and check in, try and get this stuff done, and get back out. So I get checked in, and
hold on, real quick. Let me interject. So they just let you come up here thinking everything's all hunky dory, and under no circumstance did you believe that your contract was in jeopardy whatsoever.
Right, and I'll here in just a second, the story will get a little bit more crazy.
Right.
So I go into the shop and I get checked in, and the shop guy tells me, "Hey, your driver manager's been trying to get in touch with you. Give him a call whenever you can." So I'm like, "Okay." So I go back to my truck and I call my driver manager. And my driver manager's like, "Hey, man, we're showing that your contract has been terminated." And I was like,
"Woo.
Terminated? Why? What's the deal with this? What happened?" And according to my driver manager and the safety department, nobody had an answer for me as to why I was being terminated. Nobody had called me previous to this phone call to discuss anything that I may have done wrong or anything like that. So My driver manager is just like, yeah, your contract's been terminated, and they sent out a notice 10 days ago. Well, per the contract, it says they have to give at least 10 days notice. So my termination was effective August 1st,
Right.
but here's where
So,
it gets weird.
well, hold on.
So
So that section of the contract you were talking about,
yeah, I got a copy of
I
it
got.
right here.
Here we go. So this is the section of that contract, which is section 35 of terms of and termination. So it says this
Right.
agreement is effective from and after the effective date set forth herein, and unless terminated earlier as outlined herein, shall remain in effect until 31 July 2023. Notwithstanding any other provision of this agreement, either party may terminate agreement at any time with or without cause by providing the other party with 10 days notice from the date of mailing to the last known address of the party. Contractor agrees to indemnify and hold fleet operations and carrier harmless from and against all liability claims and costs, including reasonable attorney fees arising from a related to operation of the tractor after the termination of this agreement. Any termination of this agreement, notwithstanding the terms hereof, will continue to govern all periods prior to termination. And from what I gather from this whole thing, and I'm not necessarily the most lawyeristic kind of guy, but basically it says that they don't have to give you a reason why they're going to let you go, as long as they mail you something to your last known address prior to 10 days of the effective date of the termination. You cannot sue them, you cannot do anything against them, and you cannot take any fees against them or anything whatsoever. And if that truck is not yours, then you got to pony up all the dough all at once to move that tractor and or whatever you need to do. So the guys with like Tel trucks, SFI trucks, Pro Lease trucks, if they don't have that money ready to go to move their truck, they're at risk of losing their truck also when they terminate this contract. Is if I understand what I'm reading correct, is that
Pretty much
exactly,
what
is that the
I
situation you wound up in?
That's pretty much that in a nutshell. So the weird part is that after my 34 was up, it was on Monday, August the 1st. Now, what I have with me here is the notice that I got from USA in the mail, and it
All right.
says, Mr. Fowler, please consider this letter as USA Truck Incorporated's formal notice of termination effective August 1st, 2022 of the independent contractor operator agreement. The agreement signed and executed by you on July 6, 2002 in accordance with section 35 of the agreement. All representations, covenants, limitations, certifications, and indemnities made and any duty or obligation which has been incurred and which has not been filled, performed, or discharged, and any right which has been created and which has not been fully enforced or satisfied shall survive the expiration or early termination of this agreement. All access to programs and or systems not permitted under any new agreement shall be terminated. Upon the effective date of termination, you shall return any and all USA Truck Incorporated property in your possession, including but not limited to license plates, permits, drive cam, geotab, and communications devices. This correspondence shall serve as notice that any insurance obtained through USA Truck Incorporated will be terminated per the insurance company's guidelines. Should you have any questions regarding this letter, please do not hesitate to contact me using the phone number or email address provided below. Best regards, Brandon Bridges, USA Truck Incorporated. So, this was the letter that I had gotten in the mail that came in the mail the day that I left off of my 34-hour reset. So,
Right. So what?
the,
So Did you get that, or was that had you already had left the house from your 34, and I'm assuming your
I had
significant other was the one who got the letter? Is that
I
correct?
was already gone. It was in the mailbox, and we didn't even know it until I had told my wife to go check the mail for any type of letters. But I was already parked at the Ohio terminal by the time this took place.
Okay,
So here's where it gets weird.
I got you.
So per the
Wait,
letter,
whoa, hold on, wait. So, right, so the letter says that your con. If I let me make sure I caught this correctly. Did that letter say the 1st of August is when the contract was terminated, but you
right,
didn't get to the Ohio terminal until the 3rd of August,
right,
and they were the insurance?
right. This is
So
where
they
it,
had you, unbeknownst to yourself, illegally operating a vehicle without insurance for commercial purposes.
right, but this is where it gets really weird. So the morning of August
Wow.
1st, um, I was out here where I'm at right now looking for loads, and there wasn't really anything paying anything going up to Ohio. And I really needed to get up to Ohio before my warranty expired for the truck. So what I did was that I got in touch with my driver manager through the USA truck app. And I sent him a message saying, "Hey, I need a load that comes as close to the Tip City, Ohio terminal as possible because I need to get something worked on with my truck at the shop." So that
Right.
should have been a clear indication right there that I had no idea that I had already been terminated. So
Hmm.
instead of telling me, "Hey, your contract was terminated," instead of telling me that, he's like, "Okay, let me see what I got." And he had a load that was 2 hours away from the Tip City terminal, and I agreed to take it. And I go pick up the
Okay.
load, and I start making my way up to the Ohio terminal. Yeah, I ended up getting to the terminal late Wednesday night after I had delivered my load, and the next morning is when I found out. So I technically drove like 3 days illegally, apparently, without insurance
I
on my
mean,
truck.
according to that letter, yeah. According to
Yeah,
that letter, yeah. So
and
that's
that's the weird
not
thing.
cool.
I was in
Yeah.
open communication with my driver manager. I still had access to everything on the e-log inside of the truck, as far as messages, uh, notifications, the load board, and my electronic log. So it's almost like they knew that I was coming up there, but it's just so strange. And what really sucks is the fact that I was only there for about a month, and then I lost everything.
So
I didn't
I
get
also had it on good authority that at the time they told you that your contract was terminated and they told you to turn your truck in, that you were still active inside the payroll system. Is that correct? Like you were still
That's
showing
what
as an
I
active
heard.
driver inside the system?
I never did call payroll to confirm that, but once I heard that, I updated my e-log and went back to the home screen and saw that I was out of the system. I ended up losing my truck inadvertently, uh, due to the fact that USA terminated me. Now, because I had a pro
Right.
lease truck, USA is supposed to transfer the title over to pro lease, which can take up to
Right.
3 months. I had only been there 1 month, so they did not have my title, so I could not take the
Right.
truck anywhere else. My
See, that was
insurance
the.
insurance
I was
was
just saying.
through USA.
Sorry.
So when USA pulled a contract and they pulled the insurance, so I could not move the truck. And because I was out of the system, I could not do any loads to pay for the truck. So USA, or not USA, since Pro Lease, um, they pretty much had no choice but to go ahead and terminate the truck lease agreement as well.
So if you would have been in an older truck where they had the title, you could have just paid the transition fee and moved your truck and put insurance on it. But since you had a newer truck in their system and they didn't officially have the title yet, you weren't able to move it like I am.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Wow.
Yep.
So it's like the perfect storm of crap to just like smack you right in the face. That's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, and they
So
didn't even have the money at there. They didn't even at Pro Lease. They didn't even ask me if I had the money to put insurance on the truck
mhm.
or move it anywhere or what. They just said we don't have the title. You can't move it. So we have to cancel your contract.
So, do you think that that in itself, do you believe that you're also barred from business from pro lease also, or do you think that this was out, they didn't have a hand in this? It's just you fell in the legalese loophole because they didn't have the title.
I don't know. A lot of things just seem really fishy about this whole situation, and being that Pro Lease is in bed with USA,
I mean,
almost
that's where
like
they buy their
this.
tractors from. So,
And I did ask Pro Lease about my title because my whole plan was to move my truck from USA from the get go. I did not want to
hmm
be a USA. The only reason I stayed was to get up a little bit of money and wait for the title to come in, and I was going to immediately move the truck somewhere else. So my plan was not to stay at USA. So I did reach out to Pro Lease and ask them, you know, do you have my title available? But
hmm
I don't think that's why they terminated me, because that wasn't within that 10 days that they sent out the letter.
so the reason that all of this came to be, like, there's two things that come to mind, at least from my perspective. One, somebody somewhere let go that you were looking to leave, and they got butthurt about it, or B, I am believing that this has to do with the DB Schenker takeover, and they start headhunting, and they're just going to start letting people go as we get closer to this merger. And then once DB Schenker comes in, they're going to do what every single company does during a takeover, and they're just going to start cutting jobs. And they're just doing this right now before they have to put their official layoffs for what's coming in the future, because we all know the market's kind of topsy turvy. Plus, you've got a buyout coming in there. Do you think that that's part of what could be going on, or maybe, or am I just like pulling it, straws here?
I think that it might have a lot to do with it. You and I both know that there have been a lot of people that are leaving USA. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
companies that work with USA have also confirmed this, that work third party for USA. They have confirmed this.
Right.
And some dispatchers have even said we're trying to keep as many drivers as we can, because a lot of people are leaving. But USA, again, with this merger, nobody is telling anybody really what they want to hear, that they're safe, and it's got a lot of people scared, and they're jumping ship before they
Mm-hmm.
go down with it. So
I know from my perspective, and I can say this now that I'm no longer working there or affiliated with them for fear of losing my contract. The minute they announced the DB Schenker merger, immediately our rates dropped. Immediately the freight started drying up. We started losing loads. We started losing customers. The average rate per mile on a lane right now is like $1.54. There's like no good freight anymore. And a lot of the things that from my previous content that I had made from last year and even 6 months ago before the merger, while all of that stood true at that test in time, none of that even applies anymore, because from what I'm seeing, where we're at now since the post DB Schenker announcement, it's 100% different company. It's not even the same place I worked last year or 6 months ago. And it's really sad, because at one point in time it was a good place to be, but I can't say that anymore. It's just there's a lot of toxicity. The freight's sucked up, and like they're doing stuff to people like what they're doing to you. If I get anybody else who's going through this situation, I'd love for them to get on here and talk or things of that nature. But um, it, I'm just so flabbergasted by all of this. The fact that they would have the gall to do this and have no rhyme or reason as to why they're going to let you go, and how you've literally, like, they took the entire rug out from underneath you, and you got caught in a legal loophole on your truck, which is I can't believe it. Had you actually been actually warned 10 days prior, you could have planned for this a lot better. I just hope that you're at least in a position to be able to absorb the short downtime before you turn around and rebound and get back on your feet.
August 8th to roll around on Monday, and I'm hoping to hear back from OTR Leasing, and I'll
I
be
got you.
hopefully getting a truck through them, and then I'll be putting it on with another company. So I'm hoping that that process goes fairly quickly, um, mainly because, as you just said, the freight has dried up so much at USA. The rate per mile is way
Mm-hmm.
down, and I didn't really have an opportunity to really build up a lot of money to absorb this hit. This was just so unexpected. and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck in a hole. You know, I could either go work for another company, or I could try and get another truck and do what I had planned to do. So I'm going with the
I
route
got
that
you.
isn't necessarily as safe and secure, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that everything will work out in the end.
Is there anything else you want to put out here, like any warnings for anybody who's thinking about getting into this process and jumping in bed with USA like we were, or just words of the wise from those who have been there before them?
Well, I will say this: you're just as replaceable as they are. So no matter where you go, if you're going to sign on with a company as an independent contractor, or if you're going to go work for a company as an employee, they will replace you just as quickly as you can replace them. You know, always stay on your toes. If something doesn't seem right, and investigate it, try and get some answers, because it's all about you. You need security where you're at, and you need to know that you're safe where you're at. So always do your homework, always stay on your toes. Nothing's ever cushy and safe and secure.
Yep.
That's pretty much all I got to say. If you're looking to come on with USA, I would seriously tell everybody that you really need to do your homework. There are a lot of people leaving USA, and you've been there for like what, 2 years?
Yeah, pretty. It would be if I stayed till next May, it'd be 2 years. So let's see, May, June, July, August, September. I've been here a year and 4 months, so just shy of a year and a half.
Yeah, you've always had good things to say about USA. So if somebody like you is jumping ship, I mean, that says a lot, and everybody else needs to really do their homework on where they want to go.
So, I mean, if it works for you, keep doing it. If you think you can make it work, do it. But have a contingency plan. Don't let this be
Yeah,
your end all be all. Always have a backup plan for when things go south.
and
The Titanic was
definitely,
supposed to be unsinkable, but it still sank.
yeah, definitely wait till the merger is done if you're thinking about USA, because
Hmm.
nothing's set in stone yet, and you'd be safer to wait till the merger's over to see how they structure this new business that they're taking over.
All right, we're going to cut it there, y'all. I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Here goes the outro. Some questions to someone who had their terminated contract or their contract. I want to ask the question to somebody who had their terminated. Son of a bitch. Blooper reel.